Hi ladies, Dionysia here. I wanted to take some time out with you today to say welcome to February and to speak to this moment in time that we're in. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are, according to the Celtic wheel, celebrating Imbolc. And Imbolc translates to use milk. It means the first milk that comes in. It means the seed underneath the ground that has burst open but has not sprouted up above the winter ground yet. It means those first inklings, first feelings of life force returning from the deep winter. It's the quickening. And when we tune towards the quickening, we can feel, like I said, life force returning, and we can start tuning to what we see ourselves heading towards in spring. So of the things that are still, that have been germinating and have been in the deep womb of winter and are now beginning to feel the first inklings of the quickening of the energy rising, what do we want it to rise toward? What do we want to envision opening and beginning to blossom in spring? So here we are at this cross-quarter holiday between winter solstice and spring equinox, and it's that perfect moment to sort of blend those two energies together. So what we don't want to do is get into, okay, I gotta create now, I gotta go hard, right? It's not that energy, it's not time for that yet. And we can really benefit from staying in that sort of like dreamy, slower, wintry energy before we move into the, more outwardly moving energy of spring. This is a good time to dream. It's a good time to vision. It's a good time to harness that Venus energy that you heard me talking about last week and move that into creative expressions, what you want to be dreaming in for yourself. And of course, we're in, the month of celebrating love with Valentine's Day coming up. And I'll speak more to that next week. But what I want to say is that this for me is a really sweet time of year to be cozied in with our lover if we have one, or dreaming in our lover if we don't, or dreaming in our creations, whether we want a lover or not. But also staying like clear in that sweet movement forward that doesn't have any urgency in it and doesn't have any like moving hard and fast in it. One of the things that I like to do at this time of year is also to sort of think of it in terms of the movie Groundhog Day. So you might remember that movie from, I think it's the 80s, with Bill Murray in it. And that movie is actually worth a rewatch if you haven't seen it for a while, because it has some really interesting sort of metaphorical pieces in it. But one thing that I really enjoy about that, that we're going to see from groundhog predictions, how much winter we have left actually. Is it going to be a few weeks or a lot of weeks? So that's another aspect of what's happening right now, right? It's like, we don't know when we're actually going to be in spring. And we have all of these sort of like old forms of predicting that to see, but we don't know until it comes. But in that movie, what the premise of the movie is that he gets up and lives the same day again and again, right? And I think that's an interesting way for us to look at what's happening in our lives, because I know that for us as feminine essence beings, we need that sense of rhythmic holding, meaning we actually, most of us, do well with going to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every morning, having meals at the same time every day. And that's especially true if you've ever had any adrenal issues, adrenal fatigue, or adrenal exhaustion, or if, this happens for a lot of us when we hit perimenopause, at whatever age that's going to happen for you. But even for younger women in their 20s and 30s, if you are like go, 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 go all the time, you have to be really clear that you keep a lot of nourishment happening so that you don't hit burnout and exhaustion once you hit perimenopause. And all of these things are related to our adrenals, right? So tending to that and really caring for that. And one of the best ways to heal any kind of issue with the adrenals is steady rhythm. sleeping at the same time, up at the same time, eating at the same time, bed at the same time, right? Like that's one of the things that adrenal care really thrives in. But the flip side of that we want to be really attentive to is that can begin to feel, if we set in, you know, I like to call it rhythm because I do believe that feminine really thrives in rhythmic holding. But if we set it into too great a structure and we don't allow for any flow in there, then we can start to feel like we're living a rote existence. We're living the same day over and over again, right? So this is a good time, especially right now where we've got this Venus thread happening that I mentioned in my last couple of videos. This is a time to really attune to, do I have enough variety in my life? Do I have enough excitement in my life? Do I have enough of what gives me pleasure in my life? Pleasure not as a frivolous fluff thing, but as a way of being, as an embodied feminine woman, as a way of living life in a full way, so that we don't slip into something that feels mundane or rote. And it doesn't mean that we don't want that kind of stable thread. We do. But we also want the exciting thread. We want the passion thread, the pleasure thread, right? So what is the balance of those two things for you? And that's going to be different from woman to woman. But I think that this is a really beautiful time of year to sort of explore that a bit, right? Because it's that time of like, things are still slow and dreamy and wintry, but the energy for new, the energy for growth, the energy for pleasurable outward expression is there. The very beginning of the energy is there, you know, so we want to tend it, we want to foster it, but we want to do it in the containment of that slow, dreamy, wintry thing, right? Now, if you're a woman who is like on the go all the time and never stops to acknowledge it's winter, then this is a really good moment to stop and acknowledge it. If you can't do it every day, do it for a day, do it for an afternoon, make a celebration out of it, make a ritual or a ceremony out of it, but take some time to tune to, where are you? What's happening with Earth? Because, you know, the biggest problem that I see in all of what's happening on our planet right now is that there's so many of the most powerful forces, and most powerful, I mean with money, right? Because that's the most acknowledged currency of power on our planet is money. And a lot of that lies in the hands of a very few men. Yes, there are women in that game too, absolutely. And a lot of them doing amazing things, a lot of those men doing amazing things, but there are also a lot of them doing not so amazing things, as we all know. And the problem with that is that so much of what they do is disconnected from the heart. And it's disconnected from nature. It's disconnected from the earth. So as we be that rising tide in answer to that, it's important for us to ground into the earth. It's important for us to acknowledge the energies of earth. Now, you've already heard me talking about, we've moved into the year of fire and air. We're moving out of all of that earth, water energy that the signs have been in for a long time, which means we're going to need to learn how to navigate everything differently from the energy of air and fire rather than the energy of water and earth. But fire and air are also of the earth. So when I say, you know, we need to stay connected to the earth, we need to be in balance with the elements. We need to be connected to the elements. We need to know, you know, can you name 5 of the types of trees that surround you, for starters? So my offering to you this week is to take some time to attune to that. It doesn't have to be a long time if you're feeling pressed for time, or it can be a wonderful, juicy, luscious, languorous time if you've got that available. But in either case, tune to the earth, where she is right now. What is the cycle of nature that you're in right now? And if you're in the southern hemisphere, the same. It's different for you, obviously, than the northern hemisphere, but still attuning to nature and what cycle she's in right now. These are crucial for us to be doing. This is one of the, I think, most important tools we need to use throughout this entire year as we continue to stay present to what's changing. And we, you know, attune to the cycles, attune to nature. We keep ourselves as the feminine grounded in it, attuned to it, embodying it as the balancing force to that mentally driven status of power that we see, sort of running the bigger picture of the world. Within that, because we're all in this together, within that is the power of woman, the power of love, the power of nature, the power of earth, and we can be attuned to that every day if we choose to, and that can give us that sort of beautiful, harmonious flow between whatever structures we have going on in our day and the beauty of feminine flow along with that. So that's my offering to you today. I had that on my mind. I wanted to speak to it a little bit. As I talked about before, I've got these classes coming, happening all throughout each week of February. You can take one individually or you can take all 4 of them, however you're feeling that, to help you stay attuned to your feminine, your flow, your love, your beauty, your passion, your desire. And of course, I've got this 6-week sexuality and intimacy immersion coming up starting in the beginning of March. There's still space in that. That'll be a different format in that we will be in meetings and you will have opportunity to ask me questions. And we're going to be going deeper. That's an immersive experience, right? And specifically about sexuality and intimacy, which I think is huge for us as women. It's huge in our power. So if you're feeling drawn to any of that, I'd love to have you. All of the information about that, as always, is in the email below. If you like the content you're receiving through these videos, please do take just a second and click that subscribe button. It really does help. It helps the algorithms of YouTube spread the word and put it in front of other people who might not know me yet, who might not have access to feminine wisdom teachings yet. So I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and help that happen and help other women out in that way. And I hope to see you in my upcoming classes. And until next week's video, I send you loads of love and blessings in the attunement of Imbolc and alignment with Venus. Blessed be.